Hello and welcome. In today's video, I will be planning for the month of March in my Laurel Denise small rose. So if you're not familiar with Laurel Denise, you can check out the link below and a coupon code to save on your order. But Laurel Denise has these several different layouts, but amazing planners that help for those that like to see everything in one spread. So I like the idea that you can see the monthly spread and then have weekly pages. So this one is set up where it just has the 2 pages open, but she has so many different layouts and they're all fabulous, each one of them. I've used pretty much all of them from one time or another to kind of figure out what my idea is, or my ideal, I should say, planner type. So I just started in January in this rose. Before it was called the rose, it was the project planner or 4-column planner, because the second page has 4 columns, and I'll show you how I set that up in a little bit. And something that I also just started doing since changing to Laurel Denise several years ago, I've always been a Sunday through Saturday planner until I started planning in Laurel Denise. And then I liked the idea of having my weekends together. So I just, maybe a year ago, finally moved that. I also moved my calendar and my phone to do a Monday start, so that way when I'm looking at that, it makes sense in my head now too, which is, like I said, super new to me. So I'm using kit 3213. Also, there'll be a link down below, but you can look for that in my Etsy shop or directly too. If you shop directly, not through Etsy, you do save an additional 5%. Those prices are already reflect a 5% discount, just because the fees on Etsy are so expensive. I'm able to pass the savings down to you guys if you so choose to shop directly through Shopify. Oopsie. Laurel Denise also has several different inserts that you can insert to the back of these or pages in the monthly. And I do one, which I'll show you after I'm done here setting up, but to help with adding additional items if this one page, for instance, isn't enough for you. So you can cover also the tracker down off the bottom, but the way I set this up right now is a week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And then I do leave the tracker, although I'm not very good at tracking things, but every month I think this will be my month. And things I track are actually not really health-like, which that's totally fine. I used to do that as well, but mine are more like going through my camera roll and deleting items that I took on each date, or cleaning up my emails, or I do like to track how many times I take the dogs for a walk in a month, or maybe there's some exercising or workout component. So now I'm just going to date this really quickly, which is going to be boring for you all to watch, but all my sheets with the dates include different ones. So you could just do a regular square or an icon, little itty bitty icons. So I'm going to go ahead and take a minute to do that now, and we'll just speed up the video. Okay, so we have all the dates down, and I did put some empty boxes in there. Just sometimes randomly I put them. Also, some are like on a birth date or whatever. I'm just going to slice this washi strip to a smaller, small size. Okay. I'm going to stick a couple of these washi strips down on items that, like maybe we're out of town. It easily tears with my finger, or I'll sometimes also use, get the ruler out. And let's see, I need a longer one to go the whole length. But I have a couple weekend items. So we'll do that there. And then I'm gonna take the rest of this guy and we're gonna put it down. Perfect. All right, so that is pretty much how I'll set up the monthly. Left over in here are some extra small little boxes. So I'll put some of those boxes in here, or I'll use these dotted circles. Also on the monthly, you have itty bitty dots, and then these corners, they're corner stickers, if you can see those. So I'll add those too as I go through and fill out my planner for the month. Now let's go ahead and flip over to the 4-column page. So I'm going to go ahead and stick these guys down. And like I said, I'll set them up by week. Certainly there's several ways, I mean, all kinds of things you could do. You could divide it up also by, drawing a line here, or adding a washi strip, and you adding 6 or 8 sections, I'm sorry. And I do have 8 boxes, because originally when I designed the kit, in my mind, that's how I thought I would set it up, was into sections. And it did for a while. When I was playing around in the larger rows. Again, this is the small one. And then I decided I wanted to do it a little differently. So again, there's lots of different headers on here, but I'm gonna just go ahead and add week 4, 3, 2, and week 1. So this is pretty much how I set this up. And I'm gonna go ahead and stick a washi, but I did notice I'm actually gonna trim this guy down too. Let me trim him down. There's just a tiny space down below, so I am gonna go ahead and trim this washi strip down below here. Just for some color. Obviously you don't need it, but there's just so many different ways you can use the items that are on these sticker sheets here. This won't exactly match, so I'm not digging that, but that's okay. We're just gonna wondering if I should, oh. All right, I'm gonna start with the other end because then I think it's gonna line up a little bit better. Okay, and find my ruler here. All right, so we have that. Now, what I also do is I have these check boxes because this is a dot grid and I want to be able to put a checklist in here. So I do add those to each one of these columns, and I just realized I left my last one. So I'll just be able to put down 3 because I have one more on another sheet. And I forgot to bring that out with me as I'm preparing for sitting down for this video. Also in my shop, there is, and if you, the sticker material I use is removable matte. I also do a glossy. I'm not a huge fan of glossy except for when it comes to washies or deco, but that's because I am left-handed and glossy smears. So if you have found a pen that works great on washi, or you're right-handed where it can dry before you touch it, then it's perfect. It's actually, the glossy is brighter. But typically I always just get or print out my decos and stuff in regular matte. But back to the paper, it is removable matte, so if you needed to, you can pull it off and reposition it. A minute ago, you may have saw me, it was a little bit crooked right here. If you just put your fingernail on it and I mean, you can't even really see, you can't see it. I was able to get that little crease out of there. All right, so then that's how I'm gonna set that up. And then the other item that I wanted to show you are these inserts. So these are just lined planner insert pages for the 7x9 planner, which is the small planner. I'm gonna get one out. And what I do on these is meal plan for the month. So I like to just keep track of what meals I've made for the month. I may star items that are new that I will do again, or would, do again, or I would maybe put a different type of, not a star, but maybe an X on an item that I tried, because I like to try new items every month that maybe was a no-go, like there's no way I'll be making this item again. So I'll go ahead and just add a decorative box, and then I have a header. Sorry, I was just noticing that wasn't in the video. And then I have a meals sticker. And then I'll just put dates down. And normally I'll use the other dates on this. So take a minute and I'll speed up the video for you so you don't have to watch me also date this. Phew. All right, so I have all 31 days, and then I'll just snap it in here. So it does cover first and second week. So when I have it sitting on my desk, you aren't getting the full week, but it's just this one little piece of paper. And you have plenty of thoughts that you could put down on the bottom. Maybe it could be meal also related. So either way. And then another thing, so because this is a simpler planner, in my eyes, that's what I'd like to call it, is a simpler planner. There are things that I need to keep track of monthly when it comes to the bookkeeping that I do. So I'm going to show you in the back, in the notes pages, there are some productivity sheets, and then some dot grid, some dot grid and graph paper. So I wanted to kind of just explain a little bit what I do here. So I'll list items, here that need to be done monthly, quarterly, those types of items. And then across the top here, I'm gonna add the days of the week. Or not the days, I'm sorry, the weeks. So I put week number and then I put the dates that those go by. So I can check off when those things are done. If it wasn't done because I forgot, or perhaps it's a monthly item or a quarterly item, then I'm just drawing a line through those items. So that's how I'm using these back note pages when it comes to monthly items that you don't get when you're in a more simpler planner such as this rose. So I'm really liking it. Again, this is the third month I've been in this rose. I'm liking the simplicity. I'm liking that I'm using the back pages, because in some of the other planners that I have used of Laurel Denise, which I love them all for different reasons, but the Scout is one of my favorites, which if you haven't seen a Scout video, you can look at that. My Scout for March will be coming up. Because the short pages are on the bottom, then the bottom of the book gets really, really bulky. And the top of the book up here, when you close it, is super thin. So I don't like how it's not even, and especially when writing on it, it's lopsided. However, I did see a video or somebody recommend at the end of the month, you take those monthly or the weekly short pages and you move them up to the top. So in the next month, there's a little bit less wobbiness. You can also go kind of towards the back of the book or whatever, other months ahead, and snip those out and then move them up. And then when you get to that month, move them back down. So I am gonna try that. I haven't done that yet, but I will be posting a video on doing that to see about making the book a little less lopsided. Anyway, back to this planner. I do like the simplicity of this. Again, in the Scout, because we had the weekly pages, lots of pages, I wasn't utilizing the back much in the notes, any of those productivity sheets or grids, because I felt there was so much area to write, and I don't do a lot of, looking back on items or those things where I don't need a bunch of dashboards. I like the idea of them, but I don't ever fill them out. I hardly ever fill out the tracker. So that's why I really like this rose. I do, can utilize now the note pages or the back sections when those items that I need to do that aren't what I normally look at on a daily basis need to be done. I flip to that, figure out on that week if I've done it or not. I might even start highlighting the week. Maybe like, oh, this is the week we're on, and then that way I kind of understand right at a glance if the column is highlighted, that's the week I'm on. If there's something there, then I know I've completed it. Maybe I'll just do that. I haven't seen that be necessary, but I just thinking that could be an idea. All right, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great day. Again, all the links down below. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. Bye.